All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I'm going to do a quantum computer video here, but a little bit different than the last couple. So I want to focus a little bit more on the ones that haven't moved as much. Okay, so we're going to look at Rigetti as you see on the screen. D-Wave will be the second one, QBTS, and then ARQQ. I'll be honest, I did not see that one. It's been making a really nice move. I think it is well worth our attention, okay? And look, I think the commonality between the three that we're going to cover really is they haven't made as big a move as those other ones, the other ones being QUBT and IONQ, but the sector is strong, NASDAQ is strong. If those can do it, these should as well. You know what I mean? And just look at the volume down here, right? It seems like it's just getting started, right? With QUBT, you can see it. It has already happened, and it kind of seems like it's fizzling out a little bit, right? With IONQ, it has already happened, and it's been very nicely sustained, right? So with RGTI, you can see not a lot going on. All of a sudden, more is coming right there, right? With QBTS, not a lot was happening. All of a sudden, it's kind of happening a little bit more. I'd like it to be a little more, consistent and sustainable, but you get the point, right? And then with ARQQ, like I said, the one that I missed, but definitely has the word quantum in the ticker, just like Rigetti, it seems like the volume is now just coming. It seems like this one is now just breaking all the moving averages, and it seems like these three want to copy QUBT, right? Boom, right? IONQ, one more time, boom, right? So when you find ones that have already ran, and believe me, I do it too. I'm a regular human, right? Instead of being sad and disappointed that you missed the runners, look in the sector to find the ones that haven't gone yet. Hopefully the strength will lift it all up, and those will soon follow, right? So outside of the sector itself, look, I at least want to call out the fact that we are less than 15 days away from Powell speaking about the rates. I'll share this website. I've done it a couple times. You can see I'm not logged in, right? Everything that I'm showing on this screen is free. Like this website a lot. It is interesting. Look, this thing was screaming 100% ease for a pretty long time. Lately, it's been fluctuating. Okay, and you can kind of see it. It was as low as 59% a week ago. It was as high as 82% a month ago, and it being the drop, right? We're currently in that 450 to 475. It seems like we'll fall to 425 or 450, right? And again, you can see such a variance of that probability. And I'm telling you, a couple months ago, it was living at 100% ease for this call coming up, right? So it's on the 18th. Powell has the power to make the markets move, right? And I'll talk about the NASDAQ shortly, but things are still looking good as long as he doesn't do anything silly, right? And I say silly with all due respect, right? But as long as everything is within expectations, hopefully nothing will happen. But you gotta be aware of the stuff around you, not just the hot sector you're in. All right. So before we do go any further, though, and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we gonna do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so thankful for it all right? So let's get into these three right here. RGTI, QBTS, and then ARQQ. So I've been talking about the first two for a bit, and really with the first two, and ultimately that third one that I'm about to include, right? But with RGTI and QBTS, there was just couldn't get over. Finally gets over the 200 moving average, finally gets over all of them, and then starts the takeoff, right? RGTI couldn't get over, kind of gets over, but not good enough, and then that big bounce and takeoff, right? So very, very nice to see that both of them are doing the other half of the rhyme, right? When you break all five, the expectation is to fly, all right? And really, this was the big, big line. Obviously, the gap up did a lot, right? But once we got over it, once we started to make us believe that we've broken through all five, we go from $160 to 4 something. That's basically a 2x move right there, right? In my book, I call that flying, right? So I know it sounds like a good little cute rhyme, but hey, it works, you know what I mean? So yeah, and then again with QBTS, that exact same thing, right? Took a second for sure, but hey, once it finally broke it, once it made us believe, even if you want to call it this line, right? Even if we want to call it this line from 2 to 3, that's a beautiful, beautiful 50% move. I know it's not as good as 2x, but I promise you, if you keep adding 50%, that's flying all day, you know? So beautiful, beautiful things happen over all five. With ARQQ, it seems like it is just happening. All right. The big, big difference with ARQQ is this volume right here. All right. Starting at the first one, RGTI, Rigetti is pushing 77 million shares per day. There are stocks I cover. Oh, let's just do it. Look, and again, with all due respect, looking at ARQQ, looking at the week, and this was a really, really big week of volume. The week only got 4.8 million. To bring in 77 RGT. Oh my gosh, wait, that's the week. I was like, where did the 200 come from? To bring in 77 million is monster, right? QBTS, even this one is at 24 million, right? Big, big, big number. And even the other ones, right? QUBT, it's only down to 22. But again, I talked about this thing's been living at 100 million before it did the drop. And hey, even the drop is still at 22, right? IONQ, a nice little consistent 20 pretty much for the last like 2 months, right? So ARQQ is a little bit behind on the volume to say the least, but you break all five and you fly. And this thing seemingly has broken all five. Looks like it confirmed on this candle right here. RSI was definitely on the higher side with an 84, right? But all of a sudden, the 8 moving average is doing a job. We basically go away from the 8, kind of come to the 8, and we're continuing our going away from the 8, right? Seems like the 50 moving average will golden cross tomorrow on the 100. The 20 is already golden crossed on the 200, right? I mean, this is a nice setup. And again, the goal across the 3 are those other 2 ran. Hopefully the sector is still strong and will continue, right? So let's take a moment to look at NASDAQ real quick because I haven't really actually done that just yet. NASDAQ looks great, all right? It really, really does. NASDAQ is still over my golden line. NASDAQ has recovered the 8 and the 20, is definitely continuing with some beautiful candles. It has now gotten over the biggest candle to the left. We are pushing all-time highs for sure, all right? Yesterday was a little interesting because yesterday you can see NASDAQ gets up almost 1% day, 0.97 day, but S&P 500, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, look at that. It was a 0.24 doji, and even today we see a doji as opposed to the NASDAQ strength and the NASDAQ good candle and a beautiful almost 5%, 0.5% candle, right? So to me, I'm not the biggest fan of that disjointment right there. I really want the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ to move in harmony, really Dow Jones as well, right? But if we're focusing on tech, and look, quantum computers are probably as tech as it gets, I think I'm okay looking at NASDAQ alone. I think I'm okay ignoring the disjointment between the indices. Again, I started the video with it just in case you fast forwarded. The Powell will speak in less than 15 days. Powell has the power to make us lose the 8 and the 20 on a single speech, or destroy all-time highs and just go, 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 right? So destroy was in a positive right there, right? So again, just keep that all in mind, all right? So I feel like this was almost a good overview of all of these in a 3, as well as a little bit of tech thought. So I'll chapter this at 9:45, and then let's just get into the technicals for each of them, all right? So Look, Rigetti, there is a lot to like here. Okay, all I am seeing is over the 8 moving average. We go away from the 8, we come to the 8, and then we should hopefully use it to keep on going. Okay, I do see a little green over red right there. I think more than anything, I'm liking this MACD. All right, divergence just means two lines going away from each other. Okay, I like this divergence. It looks like the green wants to keep going up. It wants to keep going at a faster pace than this red. Separate, right? These things were, the two lines were literally overlapping each other for so long, basically since the beginning of the year. That the last time it was in a nice little place was back in March of this year, right? So we're seeing a good separation here. Hopefully we get more, right? And I think if we can do the better takeoff, and I'll talk about that shortly, that's where it should come, okay? Look, 72 is actually still on the healthy side, right? We can go up to 80 before I start ringing that first alarm bell. I only need to come back to October to see us all the way up at 88, right? So even this one was 86. I think this one was 86. This one was 82, right? But it knows how to get into and a little bit past 80 as well, right? So to me, I'm still seeing a little bit more room on the RSI. I'm still seeing a really nice MACD. And hey, volume is very healthy, okay? Trust me, I love 200 million days, don't get me wrong, but even if I just take out this little like outlier right there, that's a real nice steady growth right there. It's not some crazy pump that I gotta think dump in the back of the head, right? So overall, I think more things are saying good than bad right here. Overall, man, my next line is 422. I don't think, what are you at right there? 375. No, I don't want to draw that line. I don't think that's worth drawing. I like 422. I think this has a real shot at 422. That's a big 25%. No, that's a 33% move, right? I'm basically adding $1 to a place that only has a single dollar, but I like that 72 RSI. I like the volume as I zoom out. And yeah, I mean, I am seeing more good than bad. I would say if this was going to come down, I would say maybe 280 is probably the lowest this would go. Just kind of guessing the math of that 8 moving average, it's probably going to hit 272, right? So I would say between 270 and 280 is what I would consider still very bullish if we go all the way that low. But yeah, really, it feels like I would say 330 is a good money line. I might even set an alert. Look, an alert is not an immediate buy notification, but yeah, I think if this thing can break 330, there's a real good shot at 422. You saw me click down here. It's the bottom of this big candle right here on July 2022, okay? Maybe it'll do something. Clearly, it stopped that red candle that we just had. What was this, Monday? Yeah, that's basically where it ran to on Monday, right? So I don't think that'll stop it though. So again, yeah, those are the lines. I think 270, 280 down, 420 up. I'm liking these lower indicators. Where are we on the weekly? Look at this weekly. Look, when you're over all the moving averages on the daily and you're over all the moving averages on the weekly, amazing things will happen, okay? I will say it's a little bit interesting. Look, on the weekly, it's on 11.8. To me, this 11.8 is I would barely call that overall right there. So it's a little interesting to me to see that the weekly was actually signaling overall before the daily, even though it's supposed to be a lot slower. Nonetheless, it just bounces and the 8 moving average does the rest, right? Let me end it with that. 88's a little high on the RSI for sure, but I like the NASDAQ. I like the MACD. I like the volume. To me, when I say this all the time, the NASDAQ's the ocean. When the ocean is calm, you can take your boats out, and the boats are these little 4, 3, or 5 letter tech stocks that we buy, and we take our boats deeper and deeper until the waves get crazy, right? So we've got a good, calm NASDAQ ocean. It makes me believe we can sustain a little bit higher of an RSI normally. And hey, this daily is still a nice little comfortable 72. So I think that there's still more. All right. RGTI, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. QBTS. Okay. Again, I've been liking the two of these for sure, right? This one seems just a little bit more sustained than RGTI, right? When I look at RGTI, it's obviously still over the 8 and the 20, and I do see that bounce happening through it, but man, it's so close, dude. My girls out there, dudettes, right? It's just still so close to the moving averages. I feel like this is kind of the first point of the takeoff, and a lot of it is that gap up and go. QBTS is a little bit smoother. And I don't know, maybe it just looks a little bit smoother because there wasn't a gap up candle. This thing just makes it, I don't know. I don't know. As I'm saying these words, I think sometimes after I say it. But look, let's just get into the technicals real quick. The one thing I really want to see, and yeah, I see it. Look, this is the biggest candle to the left. When you can get over the biggest candle to the left, good things tend to happen, all right? When you go away from the 8, you're either going to crash down to it or just like this thing, stay horizontal till the 8 catches up, then you're going to use it as a bounce point to go, right? Our RSI was a very, very high 82, needed to come down to a 72, just like I said with RGTI. That's still a healthy number. It is. Look, my first alarm bell is at 80, right? We still have the room to go from 70 to 80. And man, I am loving QQQ. It's still only at a 54 RSI too. QQQ still makes me think that there's more. QQQ looks exactly like NASDAQ. And again, if the NASDAQ ocean is calm, I think we can take our little tech boats and go out, right? So I'm seeing a real good NASDAQ. I'm seeing us use the 8 moving average like a champion. I'm seeing us bounce really, really nicely on the 8 moving average. I'm seeing a relatively fresh takeoff from all, right? Again, the one theme is we've already seen IONQ break them all and fly. Thing went from 10 to 30, right? We've already seen QUBT, break all 5 and fly and just bounce and sustain on the 20, right? We really haven't seen these ones do it yet. Rigetti's kind of just taking off, right? QBTS is kind of just taking off, right? So these could be ready to follow. Look, the 50 just golden crossed on the 200. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It seems like by the middle of next week, I'm just kind of guessing, right? Because you can see that took off right there, that took off right there, that took off right there. It's a little bit slower, but that's about to take off right there. I think it might golden cross the 200 in the next maybe 2 weeks max. I'm just kind of guessing the line speed, right? But I do like QBTS. It does seem like we're going to come up to the next resistance at 382. I actually don't think we're going to go any lower than 260. I'll do this. Let me lower this line just a little bit. Let me do it more of a true 50% here. 260. That's our number. I don't think we're going to go below 260. I think we're very, very bullish as low as 260. If we lose 260, it might be a quick fall to 230, okay? I would hate to drop from basically 3 to 230. That's actually a pretty tough drop, but I don't think it's too likely, but I at least have to call that out. I don't think it's going to go lower than 260 again. If this thing does what it should. All I'm seeing is red, 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 nothing, nothing, nothing. Green, green, red, red should be a nice little green right back up to 382. So I am liking the two of these. This one was a little, oh, let's look at the weekly, I guess. But again, exact same thoughts with RGTI. It really is. Look, I like this MACD. Volume, I would actually say Rigetti's a little prettier on the weekly. I think that's just a little bit more sustainable than we see on QBTS. I'm also very much assuming that this week's not going to do as well on the weekly, right? So, I don't think I have any new thoughts here because look, all I'm seeing is a 20 moving average, golden cross on the 50 moving average right there. No, I'm still seeing good things. Again, 84 is definitely a high RSI, but I wish volume on the weekly was a little better. I think that's at least, you can tell the hesitant caution in me, but I think everything else just looks so good that I'm telling you, when the markets are this strong, I'm okay ignoring things I normally wouldn't. You know what I mean? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. ARQQ. So yeah, I definitely was not looking at this one. I can see that we should have probably been paying attention in the middle of the month, but hey, I still think this one's still relatively fresh, right? So I have no lines on this one. I will draw some lines. I'm seeing some real quick things already, but hey, very quickly, if you can subscribe, if you can share, oh, it does wonders, all right? So we're looking at the full history of the stock, and a very, very quick thing to say is even today's 1 million, which is obviously a lot lower than we've seen in the last, what, three, like this is the fourth biggest in this 5 day window, right? I'm kind of ignoring those ones. That's still one of the biggest volumes in trading history for this stock, okay? And very, volume is king. Volume is queen for my ladies out there, all right? And if you're gonna bring the biggest volume in history of the ticker and relatively speaking hold it, oh, that's a wild level of strength right there. Okay. And man, just look at this thing. It did a 1 for 25 reverse split, and lo and behold, ran almost 5x. Truth be told, that is an anomaly. To me, I always say it, and believe me, even though I'm looking at this and I know what I'm saying is wrong, it's not going to change the rule, but reverse splits are death. Generally speaking, I expect it to go down, not crazy up like it did. And I think that alone is a monster example of the sector strength, the NASDAQ strength, et cetera, right? But at this point, I'm telling you, and I just ended the last section with it. I don't know if you fast forwarded or not, but when the market is so good, I will ignore rules that I would otherwise live and die by. You know what I mean? And I think this is such a recent reverse split. One of my rules is wait like 3 months, because again, you see it, right? When I'm doing my sector video, my any chart video, sorry, I'm looking roughly at this, right? Maybe that's 1 month, that's 2 months, that's like a 3 month window, right? I want the reverse split to be here so that, hey, my recent view is kind of out of sight, out of mind. This is so fresh. This is very fresh. And hey, I'm pretty much only looking at this view right here. I am looking at this volume. This is one of the higher RSIs, right? The last two that I covered were still in the very healthy 70s. This thing is pushing an 87, right? So maybe there's reason to consider interesting. Okay. The one concern here is how low the candles are, right? There's only so many educated places I can draw a line. Let's use some back history. Let's draw some lines from here. Where are you? No, that's too high. Where are you? Okay, that's an important line to hold. And then I guess I'm willing to draw that. I don't think that's that good a line. No, dude, that's a horrible line. Oh, what do we have here? That's a good line. We have that right there. Okay, these are my two lines down. Hopefully, we don't go any lower than 20. You know, I'm even willing to lower it to here. I think 2550 is the first good bullish number. If we lose 2550, we actually might fall very quickly to basically 22. Okay, not the best of falls. Excuse me, just looking at the math right there, right? But hey, I would very much say ARQQ is still bullish as long as it could hold 2240, give or take, right? If this thing was going to continue, oh man, I think I have to draw something right there. Yeah, look at that. It's basically the bottom of that. It's basically the bottom of that. It's basically half of that candle right there. It looks like it's the bottom of that. Look, that's a good line right there. And it's actually what we wicked up here. 3175 is the next line. That's the next line if this thing was to continue. Yeah, what are you at just to see it? Maybe there'll be a little bit of a resistance at 2870. The one thing I will say with that 87 RSI, I think that maybe gets a little bit more likely. But hey, That's not that far from the 31. Maybe the wick can keep pushing it, right? But I would maybe add a little caution around 28.50 as well. But again, I think the one thing that I'm seeing here just at the baseline, this is the freshest break of all five moving averages. It is, right? RGTI and QBTS, I've been watching it over the last couple weeks, attempt, and break. This one, very quick attempt, very quick break, right? So maybe there's a little extra risk reward intrigue in that, right? Where are we on the weekly real quick? Again, this is now over all the moving averages on the daily and the weekly. The important thing is, oh wow, did you get over it? You got over it last week. You got over it last week. You can see it, right? You can see the green is over the blue. So this is trying to confirm that right now. Bunch of golden crosses as well. Volume on the weekly is actually looking really good. It's actually an eight. I mean, yeah, ARQQ again. As long as Powell doesn't do anything crazy in the next 14 days, as long as NASDAQ keeps pushing, and hey, there's a lot of trading between now and the next 14 days too. You know what I mean? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so much.